Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Definiti Retirement Academy class of 2022. We're really glad that you are here. The Definiti Retirement Academy is an educational webinar series designed to make plan sponsors like you a little bit more confident in managing plans and help financial advisors grow their book of business. That's why we're here. My name is Elke Gibba. I'm Director of Marketing, and it's my honor to welcome you to this week's series. We have a lot of great sessions planned for you this week, and I'm certain that you will learn a lot. On behalf of the team here at Definiti, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to attend. Just a quick note, you can jump in and out of the webinar as your time allows, but I do hope that you can attend the entire session so that you don't miss any important points. You are in the plan sponsor track, and right next door, we've got the advisor track in session. In here, we'll cover topics related to the day-to-day management of your plan and hopefully give you a really solid foundation so that you're familiar and you are aware of what's happening and when it's happening. I'd like to say a quick thank you to our sponsorship partners who help make this kind of education series really possible. They're great platform partners and service providers, and we enjoy working with each and every one of them. So thank you to John Hancock, American Funds, Securian, Principal, Voya, Penchecks, Empower Retirement, Transamerica, Lincoln Financial Group, T. Rowe Price, The Standard, and Vanguard. As I said, we're really excited that they're able to help out with the sponsorship, and I'm sure they're glad you're here as well. We're going to begin our first session soon, but I wanted to give you a few tips as you go through this week's sessions. First, we will be taking questions at the end of each session. So simply use the Q&A button down below to enter your question. If it's in chat, we can also help you with that as well. But just know that's where we'll be watching for any Q&A questions. And then I'll make sure that those questions get to the speaker at the end of the session. Second, all the sessions will be recorded and will be available for replay next week. You will get an email when the recordings have been posted so that you can watch them then. Third, we'll share some additional resources for you at the end of each session, whether it's a handout or an article. I'll let you know where you can find out more specific for that topic. And then lastly, chances are pretty good that your retirement plan consultant may be here as well. So remember, they are always a great resource if and when you have additional questions. Be sure to follow up with them if you think of a question after today's webinar, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you. Okay, I hope you have your notebook and a pen or pencil ready because we're about to get started. We're going to cover the basics of the 401k plan for each day, just so that you have a really good foundation to build upon your knowledge. Our first speaker is Joanne Spencer, Senior Retirement Plan Consultant with Definiti, and she's here to review the essential building blocks of a retirement plan. Okay, Joanne, you ready? The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Elke, and good morning or good afternoon to everybody. My name is Joanne Spencer. And today we will be talking about the building blocks of 401k. Next slide, please. And here we have the foundation of the 401k plan, which is the plan document, followed by the plan funds, and the participating employee contributions and the employer contributions. Next slide, please. Okay, the plan document that governs how your plan operates when your employees become eligible to participate in the plan. Some employers, when they start the plan, they want anyone who's employed on the date the plan is effective to be automatically eligible. Sometimes they want to make you wait a year and you have to be a certain age. It's all up to the employer what they want to do. Types and amounts of allowable plan contributions, again, that's up to the plan sponsor, the employer. You can have employee pre-tax deferrals or Roth deferrals or employer match or profit sharing, or you can have all of them together. It's up to the employer. Okay, how employer contributions are divided among participants. When participants are vested and how benefits are paid. These are all choices that the plan sponsor, the employer, would make, and these would all be in the plan document. Next slide, please. Okay, the 401k document governs the retirement plan's features and day-to-day operations. Your plan document identifies what kind of plan it is, how it works, and what features it has to customize it to your business needs and goals. Your plan document must be written to comply with all requirements in the Internal Revenue Code. You must administer your plan consistent with the provisions in the plan document. Next slide, please. Thank you. Once you have a plan document in place, you must review your plan annually to make sure it's operating according to its terms and the law. Now, that's going to be the responsibility of the plan sponsor employer. You can't hire someone to take that responsibility from you. That's going to be your responsibility. Make sure to sign and date all documents timely. The IRS assumes that if you don't have a copy of your current and or previous retirement plan documents, restatements, and amendments, or if they are unsigned, they were never done. Now, I have seen a lot of plan sponsors that have never done this, so it's really important that you take care of that, because if the plan ever gets audited by the IRS, they're going to be looking for these things, and you should have them in your plan file. Next slide, please. Okay, the employee who signs up for 401k agrees to have a percentage of each paycheck paid directly to an investment account. Now, there are two types of ways that a participant can contribute to a plan. There's the before tax deferral, where contributions are made to the plan before taxes are calculated. Thus, it gives the participant a tax break because they're not paying taxes on those funds until the time that they take a distribution from the plan. There's also the after-tax Roth deferrals, and the contributions are made to the plan after taxes are deducted. And that helps the participant when they take a distribution, because they don't have to take the taxes. They've already been paid. Next slide, please. Okay. Employee contributions. Each year, usually in October or November, the Internal Revenue reviews and sometimes adjusts the maximum contribution limits for 401k plans. Here you can see on the slide contribution limits for 2022 and 2023. In 2022, a participant could make a contribution of up to $20,500 or 100% of their compensation, whichever was lesser. Plus, they could receive from the employer $40,500 max for a total maximum of $61,000 for the year. If the participant employee is 50 or older, they're allowed to make what's called a catch-up contribution. And the catch-up contribution for 2022 was $6,500. So the total deferral amount, if you were 50 or older in 2022, was $27,000, plus the $40,500 from the employer. Now, these are maximums. You're probably not going to get that from your employer. Was $67,500. And the new amounts for 2023 were just announced this October. And as you can see, they raised the minimum from $20,500 to $22,500, which raised the for 50 and older to $30,000. So again, individuals who are age 50 or over at the end of the calendar year can make catch-up contributions. Next slide, please. Types of employer contributions. This one is a matching contribution. The employer can choose to make the matching contribution however they want. Could be 100% of deferrals. 4% of deferrals up to 100%, or you could have 2 matching contributions, or you could have a safe harbor matching contribution, which would be 100% vested at all times. Matching contributions are only made to those employees and participants who are contributing to the plan. So if you have an employee that hasn't deferred, they're not going to get a match. The employer match program is a way for employers to keep the employers happy and cared for while encouraging employees to save for their future. So you want to give them a little nudge to put some money aside for themselves, and then the employer makes the match, and that's just a little extra incentive for the employees. Next slide, please. Okay, here's another contribution, employer profit sharing. Profit sharing contributions are discretionary, which means they don't have to be made. The employer can decide each year whether they want to make a profit sharing contribution. However, the way the profit sharing contribution is calculated is written into the document, which it says here, profit sharing contributions can be a flat dollar amount per employee or a fixed dollar amount that's allocated on a pro rata based on employee compensation. Here we also have, besides the profit sharing, we have what's called safe harbor non-elective contribution, which would not be discretionary. It would have to be made every year. Yeah, it's usually done for 3% of comp for all eligible employees. And as well as the profit sharing, the employees would not have to defer or contribute to the plan to receive this contribution. Next slide, please. Okay, plan funding. How is the plan funded? Well, the employee salary deferrals are made on a per payroll basis and deposited into a participant investments as soon as administratively possible, which is generally within 3 to 4 days. Now, the employee should have made selections with what investments they want their funds invested in beforehand. And once the employer can deposit the funds to the investment company, they should do so without delay. The employer matching and safe harbor contributions can either be made on a payroll per payroll basis or annually at the end of the plan year, according to the plan document. Profit sharing contributions can be made up until the time the company files a tax return, plus any extensions, depending on how the plan document is written. Next slide, please. Plan asset investing. The company that sponsors the 401k plan selects a menu of investment options from which participants can choose. Now, they set this up with the investment company that will hold the funds for the plan. Included investments fall into one or more of the following categories: stock funds, bond funds, index funds, target date funds, and money market funds. Now, usually the plan sponsor would consult with an investment advisor, not always, but generally, and they would help them determine what funds to invest the plan in. Next slide, please. Okay, that's the building block slide again. Next slide. Eligibility for participation. Employees are not always eligible to participate when they're first hired. A company can have a waiting period of up to 1 year of service and an age 21 requirement. Now that is the maximum per regulations that you could make a employee wait is 1 year and 21. And you can make it shorter. You could have someone come in immediately on the day they're hired. You can have them wait 3 months. You can have them wait 6 months. You can do whatever you want. That's up to the plan sponsor. But the most you could make them wait to enter the plan is 1 year service and age 21 requirement. Also, there's a 2 year waiting period, but that's for the employer contributions. So the employer may require 2 years of service for eligibility to receive an employer contribution if the plan provides that the participant is 100% vested after the 2 years. The most common wait that I see for eligible to participate is 1 year service and 21. That's pretty much a safe harbor. That's what I see the most. Okay, vesting. Vesting is simply another word for ownership. Participants are always 100% vested in their deferrals and Roth contributions in the plan. The company matching and profit sharing contributions have a vesting schedule that specify what percent of the company's contribution the employer owns based on years of service with the company. That's another thing that the plan sponsor can choose, the employer. If a participant,
I think it's a connection to the TV.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
if a participant leaves a company before being 100% vested in employer contributions, they may lose a portion of the employer contribution. So if a participant's only 20% vested and they have $1,000 in, let's say, profit sharing funds, they would only get $200, and the other $800 would go back to the plan, probably the plan's forfeiture account, where the employer could use that money to pay plan expenses or reduce employer contributions. And that's another thing that would be decided and written into the plan document, how those forfeitures would be used. Next slide, please. Okay, Here we go. Vesting, which I kind of talked about. The IRS has rules on how long an employer can make a participant wait until they're 100% vested by mandating that an employer use one of two vesting schedules. Now, the grading vested, the participants' vested percent increases the longer they're with the company. The vested percent increases 20% every year until they're 100% vested after 6 years of service. Now that's the maximum. So I've seen 5-year graded, 6-year graded is what I see the most, but I've seen 5-year graded. Or you can change it totally, and it could be 25%, 50%, 75%, 100% after 4 years. It's up to the plan sponsor. Or you can say everybody's immediately vested and they don't have to have any years of service to be vested in their employer contributions. Okay, the second one is cliff vesting, where the participant isn't 100% vested until after 3 years of service. So they would be 0% the first year, well, 0% the second, and 100% vested after 3 years of service. That's why they call it cliff, because you just go from nothing to everything, fall off the cliff. Next slide, please. Rollovers. A 401k plan can allow participants to roll in money from certain other qualified retirement plans, such as another 401k plan or an IRA, if, of course, it's written into the plan document. The plan sponsor doesn't have to allow participants to roll in the money, but I've never seen a plan that hasn't allowed that, but I know that you can. I just haven't ever seen it. Next slide, please. Loans. Everybody's favorite, loans. 401k plans can allow participants to take out personal loans from their 401 account if the employer allows it and writes it into the plan. I think this is a much better option for the participant because they're going to repay the loan back to themselves rather than taking a hardship distribution or an in-service distribution that doesn't get put back into the plan. The maximum loan amount per IRS regulations is 50% of a participant's vested account balance with a maximum of $50,000. So it doesn't matter if the participant has $5 million in their account, the maximum loan that they can get is $50,000. The maximum length of a loan is 5 years, unless it's for a home mortgage, and then it can be increased to 25 years. Some plans allow for participant to have more than one loan. I've seen plans that allow 3, 4, 5 loans at a time. Most plans just allow for one loan at a time, but the loans can be refinanced so that it's almost like the participant can take a second loan, but they get lumped into one loan. And next slide. And that's it. That's my presentation. And if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Joanne. I would ask Metro Connections, go ahead and go back to the next slide because I do want to cover some resources that we do make available for you because that was a lot, right? So Joanne, I asked Joanne to come and talk and give us the building blocks of the 401k because sometimes we know this, we're in it all the time, every day, but most of the time you guys are working on your business and may not know all of the building blocks at a particular moment. So that's why we covered this topic. We do have a couple of resources that I'll share with you. One of them, obviously, is this replay. So when the recording is available, that would be another way for you to listen to it again. And then Joanne, most of the stuff that we covered is in the plan sponsor guide, which is a resource that we make available to either new plans or plans that are coming to Definiti. It's another guide, just a way for you to get acclimated to what it means to be a plan sponsor and all the different things that are included. The other thing that we have available is a new flyer called What is a 401k Plan? And it is specifically a learner's guide to talk about all of the different elements of a 401k plan. Again, very basic elements. Some of you may have been advanced because you've managed your 401k for a while, but it is available as well on the website. So just a couple of those resources that we do have available. And so Joanne, the next slide would be, we do have a few questions that came in. Not going to make you get there aren't any really big ones here, but there are a few here that we've got. One of them is a question that you answered during the presentation, where someone asked, what is the most common weight you see for employees to be eligible to participate? And I think what I remember hearing you say is it's most common 1 year. Is that right? Is that what you?
Yes, 21 years old and 1 year.
Yep. Yeah. So I know sometimes we're talking with different financial advisors as they're talking to plan sponsors. One way that a plan sponsor can think about maybe additional ways to recruit is to shorten that time. So, but if that's something you want to do, you need to talk to your RPC and coordinate for the plan document. Make sure that that's up to date. So then, Joanne, the other question we have is from Mario. Mario wants to know, when is the best time to review your plan document and where do you sign?
Well, when you first start the plan and you first get the plan document, it needs to be signed then. And until if you amend the plan, you need to sign it, or the plan is restated. There's a restatement cycle for all retirement plans to be restated. Is it every 4 to 6 years?
Yeah, every 6, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it needs to be signed at that time.
Yep, good reminders. And for many of you, you've already gone through that restatement period, so you probably just signed your plan document. So that's great. Fantastic. So I think what we'll do here is take a pause. I just want to kind of say thank you, Joanne, for contributing today. Really appreciate you being able to participate and help us with the basics of the 401k to get us our footing underneath us.